Hi, everyone. Tanya Fowler here. And I want to continue the series that I've been doing on the power of communication. But as you can see, I have a special guest here, Peter Pollock. Hi, Peter.
Hi, Tanya. Hi, Tanya.
So Peter actually, he has written a book called Leadership, the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And there is all sorts of great practical advice in here that I read. And so I wanted to take some time to talk with Peter about some of this. But before we delve into anything, Peter, I'd like to know, what is it that you've been doing since you wrote the book?
That's a great question. Thanks, Tanya, and thanks for having me. I appreciate that. I have been teaching a leadership class for about 8 years. And many people had told me, hey, why don't you write a book on this? I think it'd be pretty powerful. I ended up putting some words on paper and got it published. And so the book is basically representative of the class that I've been teaching for 8 years. And you know what? At the end of the day, after I did all that, at the end of the day, I said, you know what? Let's take this show on the road, right? So I set up my own Gladius consulting company, own company called Gladius Consulting LLC, and I will go out and hopefully consult on leadership consulting. And someone once told me, Tanya, that I've climbed a mountain as far as leadership. I'd like to help other people. I truly believe my lot in life now is to help other people climb their leadership mountain. So that's why I did what I did, and I'm so happy that you're talking to me today.
Awesome. Well, great. Well, like I said, I definitely want to know what you really have to say about a
Mhm.
couple of things. And the first one being, though, there's this myth that you have to be an extrovert in order to be a successful leader. So, what is your take on that?
Yeah, that's a great question, Tony. So there are two facets to this. A lot of people, like you said, do think you have to be an extrovert to be an effective leader, and you don't really. In fact, some of the studies that I looked at back in the 2000s when I was vacation for the Air Force, they actually did a Myers-Briggs test of all these generals across the services and flag officers who are some of our senior officers, and most of them actually I's. So most of them are INTJ or whatever they want. On the Myers-Briggs are actually introverts. I myself, on the scale of 1 to 20 on the extrovert side, I'm only a 1 point extrovert. So the difference is that they can talk, they can have conversations with someone. It's like going to a party, right? The extrovert's mad because they didn't get invited to the party. The introvert doesn't even want to go to the party in the first place. But the big deal breaker is if you're an introvert and you get invited to the party, you won't talk to anybody initially. But if someone comes up and introduces themselves, you can have a conversation. That's what it's all about, having a conversation, Tanya, and being able to communicate with people.
Well, one of the things that I want to know too, though, you're talking about the introverts. I mean,
Mhm.
what's a real practical tip, though, that you would give to an introvert who's looking to, develop their communication and leadership skills?
So again, two things, Tanya. Don't be robotic in your communication. So don't think that you have to stick to a script or talk a certain way. You got to be who you are. So don't be robotic. The second one is when you're having that conversation, especially with your team members or your teammate, um, try and make a connection with that person. The connection could be anything. Could be a favorite team. Could be, how many kids you have. Could be where you grew up, where you were born. Um, in the military, it's kind of easy personal connection because chances are we've crossed paths at some point. But
Mhm.
try and make that connection with the person you're talking to. And leadership is not a win lose game, but I would say in my in my humble opinion, you've won the game if you can make a connection with the people, especially the people on your team. Personal connection is key, Tony.
Well, one thing that I've noticed since you and I were introduced was that a connection that you make is you always say my name when we're talking.
Mm.
And,
Mm.
it's
Mm.
funny because I have a degree in psychology, and there's research that basically says that, our name is our favorite word. So I see what you're doing there. You're you're trying to make sure you make that connection with me
Not
by using my
purposely, not
favorite word.
purposely. So
So
after this conversation, I'm gonna walk around the house going Peter, 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 Peter. Anyway, I didn't actually know that I did that, Tanya. So and there I did. I just now you said it. Now I'm gonna notice it every time I say it. But just being natural, and not being robotic, and yes, make that connection by using that person's name because it kind of makes them feel special. I think. So get to know people's names. Get to know their spouse's names or the kids' names or something like that. But making that personal connection and remembering their name is the first start.
yeah, yeah. Well, thank you so much, Peter. This was,
Hmm.
some really good advice for
Hmm.
how to, be an effective leader by using, communication skills well. And so, there's a lot more in this book. And I think it would be really great if we were able to, really dive into this more. So what do you think? You want to do this again?
I'd love to, absolutely.
All right.
Let's do
Well,
it. Let's do it, man.
well, everybody, you heard it here. So, stay tuned and thank you for joining us today. And thank you so much, Peter, and have a great day. We'll see you soon.
Yeah. Thanks, Tanya. Appreciate it.